Well, hello. Fancy meeting you here. What an absolutely beautiful, beautiful day. Or evening, actually. It's 7:30 and it's probably about 20 degrees, which for the north coast of Ireland is unheard of. We, like the rest of the country, had been bathing in some glorious, glorious conditions. The last week has been a little bit cooler, but today it's just warmed up beautifully. Gentle southerly breeze, just gorgeous. So I'm actually down at a little beach that I live no more than a couple of miles away from, and I actually came out here last night as well. I didn't record anything last night. We had some stunning sort of post-sunset light, but what coming out last night allowed me to do was just take a look at some of the various sort of rock formations and patterns. Now, of course, those sand patterns can be completely different this evening, but I thought it might be sort of a nice evening as it is to come out, take some pictures and bring you guys along for the ride. So this is White Rocks Beach. It's about a mile, if that, outside Portrush. Just beautiful. So obviously we're still several hours away from sunset. I kind of have a rough idea of some sort of areas that I want to work on, but right now, given the fact that I know the area quite well, you know what I'm going to do? Just going to chill out in the sun for a bit. Absolutely beautiful. At the moment is just a little bit harsh for me, so I'm using this time, just had a lovely little chill out, I'm using this time just to start looking at some of the patterns on the beach. That water is starting to now flow out. It's about an hour and 20 minutes after high tide, so it's starting to reveal some patterns. Let me show you. Now, of course, in an ideal world, that sort of pattern would only be revealed probably half an hour before sunset when we've got some lovely colours, but I'll make a mental note of that. Might still be something in there, because even though the classic school of thought is you want some water kind of flowing around there to create some interest, and while I would agree that probably is an ideal situation, what I'm hoping is that probably in about 45 minutes the tide won't have gone out too far, and even though there won't be any water actually over this particular rock, it actually will be not too far out there, won't be too far out there. And so I'm thinking sort of maybe depending on what the light levels are like, maybe a 4-stop or a 10-stop ND filter, just to give me maybe 4 or 5 seconds, smooth out the water and create a little bit of interest. Now, again, remember from my last vlog, the thing that sort of keeps the bane of my life, well, any clouds. There's some over this way, so we might get some lovely colour in those as the sun goes down, but sadly nothing in the sky here, which is just a little bit worrying. So I'm going to carry on, just again, not interested in taking any images at the moment. All I'm doing is walking up and down the beach and paying attention to some of those patterns. So I seem to have a nasty habit of, when I'm out with you guys, of chasing away all of the clouds. You can probably see behind me, no clouds. And the other thing is, where I'm kind of shooting, there's a bunch of footprints on the sand as well, which is a bit of a shame. I was here last night, so what I may do is throw up a couple of images from last night, because the conditions were better. There was slightly more cloud in the sky when I was aiming up this way. But yeah, so at the moment, again, aiming out towards where the light is illuminating. I'm not really focusing too much on just the sand patterns, rather paying attention to the white rocks on the archway, just to sort of let the eye sort of flow through the image. But as I say, tonight, not ideal because there's minimal, if any, clouds in the sky, which is a bit of a shame. I need one of those cloud plugins for Photoshop. Anyway, go and see what I can make of it. So I grabbed myself a nice composition, making sure that I haven't included any footprints, and then some dude, well, not a lot you can do about that, eh? It's a good job the conditions aren't perfect for this tonight, otherwise I might have been So I've actually set myself up with another composition, this time without the footprint. So I've got a 10-stop FORMATT HITECH filter on in my new holder, which I'm really loving. The new FORMATT HITECH holder, really good, really well thought out. Pretty simple shot. It's in a portrait orientation because the only place I'm actually seeing the clouds is actually right above me. So portrait orientation. I'm loving the sort of golden colours here. I'm on bulb mode, and I'm probably going to be shooting for about 45 seconds. So let's go. Well, that's a bit of a bust. You probably noticed that something's missing. That's right, light. We now have quite a heavy bank of cloud that's moved in, which is very disappointing. That last shot didn't really come out. Again, no real clouds in the sky, no real definition, and halfway through the exposure, which was about a minute, the light faded, so we lost that beautiful light. So all in all, a bit of a frustrating evening so far, both in terms of the beach is much busier than it was last night, and the conditions are nowhere near as good. So I am glad that I did come out last night and actually shoot some images. I'll throw a few of those up at the end of the vlog, but I'm going to carry on here anyway, just in case the sun breaks through. It's still high enough that it will be illuminating the rocks behind me, so I'm going to keep this composition set up and see whether we get any kind of light. So it remains quite a frustrating evening, even though the light is back out again. The beach is so busy that you end up getting a very nice sort of composition with some lovely flat sand and some patterns, and then if it's not a human, it's a dog out running, chasing balls, which, don't get me wrong, I love dogs, love to see them having fun. Just I'm not this little part of the beach. Anyway, so I brought myself the composition that I was working on is completely destroyed with footprints. A dog started digging a hole and everything there as well. So again, I shot an image into the sun just because I thought that was all I was going to get. A bit more of an abstracty type image, but now again I'm more focusing on what the sun is illuminating. Now the light again has sort of faded. It's kind of between the sun, sort of between two clouds at the moment. So and I've actually switched to my 4-stop as the light levels drop. I really only want 4, 5, 6 seconds. So using the 10-stop was just giving me far too long exposure time for the aperture that I wanted to use. So 4-stop, which actually is my favourite ND filter to use by the coast, especially when you can sort of get an exposure time of about 1 or 2 seconds on those really stormy days. Anyway, so I'm going to carry on. I really love that light. Looks lovely on the side of these rocks, so really trying to kind of pay a little bit of homage. Did I really just say homage? So I really want to sort of reflect that in the image. Again, very simple. Portrait orientation, 4-stop ND filter. F14, 6.5 seconds. Nothing more to be said, apart from I wish we had more clouds. that's it for the evening. We're still 20 minutes away from sunset, but I just can't see this recovering again. Although I appear to have a bit of a magic camera. I mean, I know the Fujifilm cameras are pretty special, but mine seems to be magic. Look. I don't quite get that. So yeah, so I think this has really been a bit of a bust. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's never a bust when you have time with the camera. Simple as that. There might have been a couple of images from tonight. I'll throw up a couple of images from last night as well, and you can see that the conditions were just that little bit better, especially the sort of last 10-15 minutes, and then the post sort of 15-20. I mean, I was out last night probably until about 11:15, and we still had some lovely light in the sky and reflected on the beach. So I think I'm going to call this one a night. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye bye.